All right, welcome, guys. This is Breakfast with the Brand, the number one podcast in the world for entrepreneurs and leaders who want to go from bland to industry leading brand. If you tuned in live or if you're looking at this on the replay, go ahead, put some flames in the chat. Today's Friday, and on Friday, we talk about sales. I want you to help me welcome Mr. Bobby Jackson to the podcast. What's up, Bobby? How you doing?
Doing great, Junior. Doing great. How are you this morning?
Absolutely phenomenal, brother. No complaints.
Yeah, I'm interested to get into sales. I feel like sales is one of the most interesting topics that you will have in business because you can't get away from it. There's some things in business you can kind of do without for a little while, but sales is just one of the ones that you need immediately. So I'm excited to see where this conversation goes.
Same thing here, brother. Same thing here. Man, let me tell you, I'm all for sales. I'm all for sales. I don't think you could really grow a business. There's no way to grow a business without sales. And I've noticed that most of the successful people that I know, they all have some sort of sales background. We could look at people like Les Brown, we could look at Tony Robbins. Tony Robbins used to do sales for Jim Rohn. Les Brown used to go door to door with Xerox. We could look at Robert Kiyosaki. Like the list goes on and on. Patrick Bet David started in insurance sales. Um, it goes on and on. Andy
Yeah.
Frisella. Like I could just go on and on, brother. Like every single person that you can think of, they started with some sort of background in sales.
I think that's pretty interesting because there are different types of entrepreneurs that I've run into, and some of them are really good at selling products, while others are really good at selling ideas. And I think what's unique about sales is that sales is a technique, and when you can sell, say, what do they say? I can sell ice to an Eskimo, water to a fish. It's one of those things where it's like once you know how to sell, you can sell just about anything. So I really enjoyed that you brought those names up, and I'll bring up a few names that are sellers of personality. So you have individuals like Elon Musk, probably never sold a car himself, but he sold his personality to such a degree that people have bought into it. Things like Steve Jobs, probably never really sold anything door to door hard sell, but he sold the idea of thinking different so effectively that salespeople lined up to do it for him. So I think that sales is one of those deep rooted competencies. Like you have to have it. Can't get by without it.
You're right, man. You're right. And I want to say phenomenal morning to everybody tuning in. Bobby, let me tell you something. Steve Jobs is a master salesman. You know who else is a master salesman? Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett and these guys, these guys are so prolific that nobody. If you were looking for a salesman, if most people were looking for a salesman, they would never look at Warren Buffett. They would never look his way.
Yeah. So
They would
talk
never
about
look his
that.
way,
Yeah, like what makes him so prolific as a salesperson?
bro. You don't see him coming.
You don't see him coming.
You don't see him coming. Warren Buffett could convince you to drink a can of Coke every day.
Right?
You
For a cent. For 1 cent while you're
Bro,
at it.
you don't see him coming. Like, you know what I'm saying? He's transcended the salesperson. So there's different levels of salespeople. there's a regular, like, and this is the one that nobody wants to be. The regular salesperson, the sleazy, slimy, don't know. We call them, they're like newbies in sales. They're trying to pitch you stuff, trying to sell you stuff. You don't want to buy it. They don't listen. That's like the first level of sales. Then you go up to a higher level where you become a closer, right? In fact, after a closer, in fact, a closer and closing is only one step of the sales process. But you get to be at a level where after a closer you become what we call a rainmaker. A rainmaker. Then you become a trusted advisor. A trusted advisor is a salesperson. So it's like if Bobby needs to do something, he's coming to ask me. And I make a recommendation, Bobby buys. A trusted advisor is like a doctor. So you go to the doctor doesn't go to you, you go to the doctor. And he always makes the sale. He always
Yeah.
makes the sale, man. He doesn't have to go to you. You're the
Man.
one who has to go to him. You become a trusted advisor.
Right.
There's different levels. There's different levels of sales. There's different levels of sales.
So with this approach, I want to help the audience here. So some of us are in various levels of sales right now. And I've got excuse me, the sleazy salesperson. We've got the closer, we've got the rainmaker, and we've got the trusted advisor. So really quickly, I think a lot of people are transitioning from the sleazy salesperson to the closer, and from the closer to the rainmaker. What is one thing that I can do to help expedite my transition from sleazy, slimy salesperson to closer? And then what is a key, if I'm a closer already, a key thing that I can add to my arsenal to take me from closer to rainmaker faster?
So that's a really good question, Bobby.
Mm.
Oh man, that's a really good question. So let me unpack that. First thing you need is perception. You need a change in perspective, a change in perception. I mean, what's the difference between a sleazy salesperson and a trusted advisor? It's relationship. Guys, write this down. Revenue comes from relationship. The revenue comes from the relationship. So for me, it's about perception. So a sleazy salesperson, they're trying to push product. Hey Bobby, you need to buy this. Hey Bobby, you need to buy that. But somebody who's a trusted advisor, if Bobby comes to me and Bobby says, you know what, Junior, I'm thinking about buying that. Even if I can make the sale, I'm gonna say, no, Bobby, don't buy this. Don't buy this. This is not what you need right now. Your business is doing this and doing that. You don't need this. Let's wait. I'll be the one to tell Bobby, let's wait for 2 months. I'll be the one to tell Bobby, hey, no, Bobby, we're not ready for that as yet. You're not ready for this as yet. Let's wait. Don't buy it yet. And then when you're ready, when he's ready, then I will let him know. And really and truly, Bobby, is actually looking after the best interests of the client, not after your own best interests.
So really quickly, I want to put a pin in that. I want to make this very clear for everybody watching. From what I heard, if I heard correctly, and please correct me, Junior, the first thing you need to do if you're trying to go from sleazy salesperson to closer is change your perception. One. Number two is stop looking at the close as benefiting you and start looking at it as benefiting the client, because at the end of the day, revenue comes from relationships. Is that correct?
Bro, let me tell you something. It's 100% right. Let me tell you something. And everybody, I want you to write this down. Just because you can doesn't mean you should.
Mm.
Just because you can doesn't mean you should. Just because you can close a deal, just because you can collect money doesn't mean you should. Let me explain what I mean. And this is something that I've noticed. The best salespeople, in my opinion, they never make a deal that doesn't serve both parties. What I notice is a lot of closers. So the closer's job is to close the deal. That's it. Most closers don't care. Like as long as they get the money, they give you what you ask for. They don't look back. They don't care about, or did Bobby get results or did Yvette get results. They don't care about that stuff. They're like, I need to close a deal. That's it. They need to close a deal. And if Sean was there, Sean would say sometimes they look at the people in the audience like warm bodies. Oh boy,
Mm,
there's a warm body here, warm body there. She's ready to buy. She's ready. So they're trying to close.
yeah.
But in deal making, in negotiation, it is never wise to close a deal if it is not in the best interest of both parties. Meaning, if even if I can't take your money, if I don't feel like you get a benefit from it, I'm not gonna do the deal. Because what's going to happen, Bobby, is
Hmm.
2 months later, 3 months later, client is not satisfied. You mess up future sales. So you're taking the money on the front end, you're messing up the money on the back end. Because if you sell somebody something, it doesn't work. You sell somebody something, they don't get any results, they don't get the support, you don't do what you promise, and they don't get what they need, they're not gonna trust you. You mess up the relationship. Then sometimes they ask for their money back. When people ask for their money back, you lose the money that they paid you, and you lose the money that you spent to get them. You lose double the money, right?
Yeah.
You mess up future money.
Mm,
Man, you took from
that
your tomorrow and you put into your today. So for me, just because you can doesn't mean you should. So a closer is trying to close a deal. A trusted advisor is saying, how can this work to both of our benefit? I'll give you an example.
yeah.
Let's say somebody's doing something for me and it's let's say they charge me $100 to do something for me.
Hmm.
If I get a deal where I can afford to pay that person $200 for the same task, I might call them, I might say, hey, I know you only asked me for 100, but I'm going to pay you 200.
Hmm.
So what that does is that bolsters the relationship, and that's where the revenue comes from.
I see. So just to clarify for the audience, are we talking about three or four levels or three levels of salespeople? So I've got the sleazy salesperson, the closer, the rainmaker, and the trusted advisor. Is the rainmaker and the trusted advisor the same person?
No. Well,
Oh,
a trusted advisor, I would say to me, they are rainmakers. They can make a rainmaker is somebody that can make money when they want.
mm,
That's a rainmaker. You make rain. You make money when you want. You make it rain. That's what it is.
right.
You make money when you want, and for you to be able to do that, it means that you've mastered the entire sales process. You've
Mm,
mastered the entire sales process. Closing is only one step in the sales process.
makes a lot of
People
sense.
say, I'm a closer, I'm a closer. Well, okay, cool. But guess what? If you can't generate leads, if you don't have nobody to close, what you gonna close? I really, bro. If
Yeah,
you can't set an appointment, if you can't get anybody to close, what are you gonna close? So yeah, you're fantastic, you're a closer. That's great, that's phenomenal, right? But really and truly, if you have to be a rainmaker to survive. Closers don't survive. Closers, and I've worked with other closers before. The way most closers work. And when I say closers, I'm referring to people who like their only focus is on closing a deal. They want to sit in the back end and wait for people to set appointments for them so they can close. So for me, I look at this as if you and I are in the jungle, you're saying to me, hey, Junior, I need you to go and find me some food and bring it here so I can eat. That's the way I see that.
mm,
It's like you're sitting at the hut and I'm the one going out to find the leads to do this, to do that, and I'm bringing it just so you can eat it or you can kill it. Like
right.
you're not gonna survive that way. If you're a one man or one woman army, you need to understand the entire sales process so your business can survive. From the
Mm,
outreach, how do you reach out to people? How do you build a list of prospects? How do you contact those prospects? How do you set an appointment? How do you make sure you follow up to make sure the appointment shows? How do you perform a demonstration presentation? How do you negotiate? How do you close the deal? How do you follow up? Like there's so many steps in the process, and the sale is only done after you call the client back after
mhm.
like a week and you say, hey, you bought this, it's been a week, how is your experience? When the client says, Bobby, this is the best thing I've ever bought, then and only then is the sale done.
You know, Junior, and I know we're about to go to a break here shortly, but I want to ask you this question so that when we come back, you can unpack this. This is the billion dollar brand. breakfast, breakfast with the brand, the $1 billion brand. So I would be remiss if I didn't ask the question, how can a $1 billion brand help you close more sales and improve your sales process? That's the question.
The reason why I did this and what I do is help leaders to become brands and brand themselves. You train people how to treat you by how you treat yourself. I teach authenticity marketing. If people can take advantage of you, they will in your personal or professional existence.
My biggest takeaway just from day one is you are the brand. I would recommend it to anybody that's really looking to build a personal brand.
Just the brand in general has changed my life. I've grown so much since I've been a part of this.
I see myself in what he does, and I believe in it just as much as I believe in myself.
There's nothing that you cannot overcome in this world except that which you refuse to fight. When I say brand, when I say brand and authenticity and being the brand, you gotta know your story. You gotta know your story, you gotta own your story, and you gotta be the champion of your story. It's very important that we control our narrative. It's very important that we don't allow anyone else to control our narrative, because when they control our narrative, they control our freedom. They control our freedom and our future. I don't just want it for me, I want it for everybody. It can happen, and it can happen for you, especially when you get branded like a leader.
All right, guys, we are back. So, Bobby, you asked me a question. You
Yeah,
said, say that one more time. How can a $1 billion brand? Uh-huh.
absolutely. And I even wrote the question down a little bit simpler so that everybody
Okay.
gets the impact here. So, how can you leverage a $1 billion brand to improve sales within your organization?
That's a great question. The most, well, the easiest answer I would say, and maybe it's not an easy answer, but let's put it a couple ways. The most powerful thing there is process. So two things: process, product, and process. What you'll notice if you have a brand that's doing $1 billion, Bobby, most likely the product, whatever product you're selling, it's simple.
Mm,
So what I see is oftentimes entrepreneurs are complicating things. Entrepreneurs make things complicated. So they build an elaborate program, an elaborate product, an elaborate invention. But you could make $1 billion just selling like fertilizer. You can
yeah,
make $1 billion selling milk, toothbrushes, like things people never think about. It's simple, but they need it. You can make $1 billion selling water. So number one, make your product simple. So if you're doing a coaching business, make it simple. Group coaching, that's it. Maybe one-on-one is not really scalable for $1 billion, but maybe you have a simple group coaching program. So simplify your product. That's number one. Because the simpler your product is, the easier it is to sell.
mhm,
If you can sell something where you don't have to explain it to the customer, it sells pretty quick. Because then you don't have to spend time explaining what it is.
yeah,
So I would say model the product. That's one way. I would model the process. So I would look at the sales process. And guys, anybody can do this. I guarantee you. Going to a restaurant, a Chick-fil-A or something, And this is something, and I love this question, Bobby, because let me share something with you. I heard a multi-millionaire say that for you to make money, one way that you could make money is to increase your perspicacity, meaning to increase your ability to perceive, your ability to observe. So when you go into an operation, into a coffee shop, into a donut shop, when you go into a restaurant, when you go into the mall, when you go into a clothing store, when you buy anything, ask yourself, what was the process? What was the steps? What was the journey that they took you through so you can buy it?
Mhm.
So when you walk into a Chick-fil-A, does somebody come up to you? Do they know your name? Do they do a particular thing? Is there a particular way that they go about selling? How is the menu arranged? Boy, the last time I looked at KFC menu, and I literally was calculating like the different packages.
Mhm.
So I literally said, okay, based on this information, it means that one piece of chicken is equal to this price. And I was just looking at a different menu and I was calculating, okay. And I realized that it's priced so perfectly that KFC doesn't lose a dime on any of its packages, even the packages that they present as deals.
Mm.
Even when it looks like a deal, they don't lose anything on it because it's priced so perfectly. So there are a lot of things you can learn. There's
Yeah,
a process, there's a sales process. I'll
that
give you an
that's
example. I'll give you an example. One guy, he was starting a gym. He was signing the people for the gym, and what he did was he had everybody lining up in a single file as opposed to everybody coming by the door. Why? When people line up in a single file, so let's say there's like 10 people, 20 people, 30 people. If everybody just comes to the door, it's literally it's like a small group of people. If
Mhm.
everybody lines up in a single file, then the perception is that this is a product in high demand because you
Yeah,
have to line up in a single file and there's let's say there's like 20 people ahead of you. Now you're a lot further. So
right,
the perception is that the product is more desirable. It makes the sale easier.
man.
Line up in a single line to buy anything, whether it be at a fast food restaurant or anything. When you get to the booth, to the desk where you have to order, it's very, 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 very less likely that you're gonna walk out of that store and not buy anything because you stood up in a single line for like 20, 15, 20, 30 minutes to get it. Like, man, well, I'm already here.
Right, I'm already here.
So
Whew.
observing observing these processes,
Mhm.
and then this is the key: taking the best practices from different industries, different companies, and incorporating those best practices into your own business could be the key to innovation and also to helping you make the sales process a lot easier.
Man, that's so impactful on so many levels, and I'm going to do my best to follow each level, make sure I got everything right, and then I have another question for you. I think I'm going to be sending you a lot of questions this morning, right? But simplifying the product. I was listening to an individual about a day or two ago, and they said something that I thought was pretty profound. Everyone, I recommend you writing this down. He said, in today's economy, online, it's not about who has the best product or even who's the best salesperson. It's about who has the best offer. I thought that was pretty unique. And it's
Oh yeah.
because that the simplifying of the product, the sales process, the easeability, all of that good stuff, that's offer. You know, how are you positioning your product to the prospect? And I think brand has a very big role in effective positioning. So when you position yourself in a way where you have a long line. So, guys, that is positioning. Believe it or not, instead of positioning the company, he positioned the people. And when you have that degree of control in your industry, in your vertical, you can either position yourself or you can organize your business where you can position your market. either or is positioning. So I thought that that was really insightful, is being able to improve your process. And one of the best way, or excuse me, improve your offer. And improving the offer is tied very closely to simplifying the product. Second piece, the sales process. What I love that you said about the sales process was that there's a journey. I think sometimes we can forget that the customer's on a journey in real life. Like we can think that, oh, they're going to buy from us and they're going to go about their merry way. But little do we know and little do we remember sometimes that this individual has had this problem for 2 years by now, probably. They've had it, say, costing them money. It's causing arguments in their relationship. It's causing them to do all kinds of stuff and they just want it solved. So when we are positioning our product and we're creating a sales process, that journey, I think, should incorporate where the client is coming from. What have they been through to get here? I know that if Shaan was here, he would say something like, there is a time to sell. He taught it to us in a 6 o'clock. He said, never sell before 6 o'clock. And as you go through these things, you'd have to see the training to get this fully. But what he meant by this was there is a relationship building element that needs to take place. And in the relationship building element of your sales process, you should also be gathering information. And as you gather information during the relationship building process, you should also have a good idea of what their journey has been up until now and what their journey is going to be like as they go through with you. So I thought that was really great. And then lastly, best practices. Guys, I wouldn't call myself a salesperson. My background is finance, economics, development, business, stuff like that. Like educational and business wise, like what I've been doing for the past 10 years. So I wouldn't say that I'm a salesperson. But what I will say is I'm a salesperson. I'm in business, so I'm making sales. I have to in order to stick around. And what has kept me afloat is people like Junior and people like Shaan Rais and various other master salespeople out there because they know what works. They know what works. And the thing about what works is what worked yesterday might not work today. And that I think was also very important. So the question that I have for you, Junior, now that you've unpacked so much stuff for us is, if I am just starting my business and I haven't got a lot of sales, I don't have experience in sales, and I don't have leads. I'm like, I don't know what to do. But I got a product. I got a product. I got drive. Where do I start? Like, what's the first thing I should do when I don't know a thing about sales? I have no leads and my product hasn't even really been tested enough for me to even know if it's going to be good or not. But I know I got to sell in order to get the thing going.
Bobby, that's a great question. That's a phenomenal question. So this is what you do, guys, and this everybody could write this down. This is literally what you do. This is what I would do. This is what I would do. So number one, you have to have an idea. You have to have a product that solves a problem or problems, right? You have to know who that ideal target is. You have to know who the ideal target is, number one. Once you know who the ideal target is, you pick a problem. Now, there's a thing where entrepreneurs believe that they could solve many problems. Well, I'm good at this and I'm good at that and I'm good at this and I'm good at that and I could sell this and sell that. No. Your job is to get from 0 to 6 figures. To get from 0 to 6 figures, you sell one thing to one person using one message in one space, one time. One thing to one person, one message, one space, one time. One product. So you pick one problem. So number one, I would say pick a problem. Number two, validate the problem. So I only move on what I call a hit basis, meaning so HIT, hypothesis, investigate, find out the truth. So you have a problem that you think the audience has. You don't know if the audience has the problem. You think they have the problem, You test it, you want to validate it, and the best way to validate it is to ask them, do you have this problem? Once you know for sure they have this problem, then you could get into the sales process. So you notice how even before you sell, you have to have something to sell. Okay, that's number one. So once you know, okay, now I have a viable product, something that I could actually sell, then you move into step number two. So write this down, guys. In sales, there are only three categories of prospects. Only three categories of prospects in sales. Number one, people that you know. Number two, people that your people know. Number three, people that you don't know. Number one, people that you know. Number two, people that your people know. Number three, people that you don't know. The most difficult people to sell is number three, people that you don't know, because they don't know you, they don't like you, and they probably don't trust you. So if I was starting with nothing and I needed to get money quick, I would go to the people that I know, people that already know me, people I've already worked with, people that I already have credibility with, because the sales process is going to be a lot easier. So once you establish that, once you understand that little truth, this is where you get into the sales process. So you pull out a pen and a notepad and you start to make what we call a power list. A power list or book of business. You should have a book of business, meaning you should have a book of names that you've done business with in the past. You pull out your power list and you identify who on this power list could be a potential prospect. You make a separate list. Now, for those of you who don't have a power list, your power list includes people that you used to work with, people that you went to school with, people in your family, people who are your friends, people that you met through different networks, different organizations. All of them make up your power list. And everybody here knows at least 100 people. People that you went to, that you met at McDonald's, people that you met in the grocery market, wherever, acquaintances, they all make up your power list. Maybe you went to the salon and you met a woman while you were underneath the chair or underneath the steamer or something. She's in your power list. Anybody in your network is in your power list. Okay.
Mhm.
Then you identify how many people on this list could be a potential prospect for what I have to sell. So you take out that so from that power list, let's say you have 100 people on this power list, you're going to get at least 20 people that could be a potential prospect for what you want to sell.
Mhm.
Then what you do is you pick up the phone. Okay, you pick up the phone, you call them, and you initiate what we call a first contact call. So a first contact call is literally just like the name suggests, you're making first contact with them. So maybe it's somebody that you went to university with that you haven't spoken to in 5 years.
Right.
So you call them, you say, "Hey Bobby, how you doing? This is Junior. Remember we went to university together, da, 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 da. Just wanted to check on you, see how things are going. What do you have going on these days?" So once you find out how they're doing, you tell them how you're doing and you say, "Hey, Bobby, check this out. I'm about to launch a new company. We're going to be doing X, Y, and Z. I was curious because I know about your history. Would you be interested in something that could solve this problem?"
Mhm.
If Bobby says yes, then you set an appointment. So you say, "Bobby, when would it be a good time for us to get together, either for, and if you want to do it in a physical sense, you could say, well, let's get some coffee, let's go to dinner, let's do breakfast. When would it be a good time for us to get together so I can share?" And this is very important, Bobby.
Yeah.
Guys,
Write
put
it
some
all
flames
down.
in the chat. If you're learning something today, put some flames in the chat.
Write
Let
it
me tell you
all
something. You're not going to get this anywhere else. Yo, this is so important. And listen to what I'm about to say. You don't sell on the first call. You say, when can we get together so I can give you more information? So I can give you more information. Write this down. The offer of information is different from giving information. The offer of information is a hook, just like a lead magnet. When can we get together so I could give you more information? Everybody wants more information. When you go to the store, if you're walking through the mall and you start, going in and out of stores, you go to one shoe store, you go to a clothing store. When you walk into the door, what are you looking for? You're not looking to buy something. You're looking to learn more information. You're looking to learn about the price. You're looking to learn what the store has. What are the new releases? Um, and are there any discounts? Are there any sales going on? Are there any promotions? You're looking for more information. Everybody wants more information. So you say, hey, when can we get together so I could give you more information? The offer of information is different from you giving them information. You give them information on the big DC, but you make the offer of information on the first contact call.
Wow.
Now, provided that Bobby's interested, Bobby's gonna say yes. Let me check my calendar. Let's set up a time. Boom, boom, boom. So right there and there, you already set up your first appointment. 1, 2, 3. You have your first appointment set. You have your first appointment set. 1, 2, 3. Once you have your first appointment set, that's where your closing skills comes into play. So that's where you're gonna need to close. And that we can go into that all day. I can't share this on this podcast, guys. If you want to learn about closing, register for Closing Like a Leader. It's too much for me to tell you right here. But once you get them on the second call, and in fact, let me dive a little bit deeper. And one thing you could do is you can lock your calls. So you have to set appointments and then you have to lock appointments. Let me explain.
Mhm.
Let me know if I'm going too deep, Bobby. Let me know if I'm going too deep.
Do you need to hit this after the break or right now? What do you
Are
think?
we due for a break?
I think
Okay,
we
we
are.
are. We're overdue, guys. Check this out. Stay tuned. When I come back, I'll be talking a little bit more about that sales process. I will be diving more towards the end about closing. You don't want to miss this. Trust me, you're not gonna get this anywhere else.
Yeah.
I'm telling you. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Let's go.
I said Shaan Rais. I'm proud. I said Shaan Rais. Leadership is not the brand they made for us.
Listen, he brought fire, heat. He didn't hold back.
20 years down the line, what I could sell, why not serve first? Service over salary. Branding like a leader closes the gap for people who want branding. Speaking like a leader closes the gap for people who are nervous about speaking. If Steve Jobs would have speculated, we wouldn't have Apple.
He changed lives. He helped people open up their business and start their business.
We are the brand. Some people say, Shaan, should I quit my job? Mentally, yes.
As a speaker too, to be able to learn from him and watch him and game respects game. And I want to have that much game someday.
The right client, pay $500,000 for what you do. You have to be bold in your beliefs.
He has been an amazing asset to this event and a pleasure to work with. Very captivating, collaborative, worked very well with the audience.
I want to help you. Put a 0 behind your number, right?
The session was great. How he is online, virtually, he is even more phenomenal in person.
Be the face of change that you want to see. Stop asking questions and start giving demands.
The entire team has just been absolutely incredible. They are a joy to work with. They go above and beyond.
Give yourself a round of applause.
Yes.
So for me, it was pretty much learning a little bit more about how to communicate, how I can build my personal branding and my personal development. With me, I do a lot of nonprofit work. I also work at Salesforce. So just trying to find better ways that I can network, that I can make sure when I walk into a room that my presence is felt. I felt as if he had a lot of takeaways, especially how he dissected the chessboard and like the king, the queen, the rook, the knight. So I really like that personally because I love chess too. Life is chess, the world is chess, it's not checkers. So that's what I really like about that.
Right, guys, we are back. So, Bobby, you asked me a pretty interesting question, man. This is great, guys. Put it in the chat if you're enjoying this. Put some flames in the chat. If you're learning something, that's the most important thing for me, is that you're learning something that you can take away, and actually use in your business. So, Bobby, before we went to the break, I said that, or I brought the audience up until a point where you set your first appointment, right?
Right.
So, check this out. When you set an appointment, you're supposed to lock the appointment. Now, I know most people have never heard of this concept. So, you're supposed to lock, and you're also supposed to, in some ways, qualify for the decision maker, and then you lock the appointment. So, for example, this might be something like this. So I might say, well, hey, Bobby, when would it be a good time for us to get together, right? So Bobby might say, let me check my calendar. He might say next week, Thursday. Then I'll say, Bobby, great. So Thursday at 12, right?
Mhm.
Yes. Then I'll say, Bobby, number one, thank you for setting out this time. Number two, the way you qualify the appointment is you say, Bobby, in the event that you and I were to do business together, is there anybody else that you would love to have on the call with you? And the reason you do that is because sometimes you may get them up until a close and then they'll say something like, oh, well, I have to talk to my wife. Oh, well, I have to talk to my business partner. And guess what? You delay the sale. And time kills all deals. You delay the sale, time kills all deals. So you want to ask them, hey, is there anybody else that you want to have on the call with you in the event that you and I were to do business? If they say no, or they might say yes, I want to invite my business partner, cool, you invite the business partner as well. That way, you immediately remove the objection of, I have to ask my wife or I have to ask my husband. Number two, you say, hey, Bobby, would you happen to have any appointments prior to our meeting that would either cause you to be late or cause you to not make it on that day for that time? If Bobby says no, then you've effectively locked your appointment. So Bobby cannot say, or he shouldn't say, hey, I couldn't make it because I had something else going on. I couldn't make it because I had another appointment. I couldn't make it because I was stuck in traffic or whatever, because he already confirmed that he has nothing going on prior to the meeting. So that's how you lock the appointment, Bobby. And then once you get on the actual appointment, then you close. You're supposed to know how to close. And if you don't know how to close, come to closing like a leader.
Come to closing like a leader. Wow, I had to take a breath myself because you forget sometimes how much you've learned when you do it so much. So I remember going through closing like a leader live. I remember branded like a leader live. I remember speaking like a leader live. And what I know some people are feeling right now, I guarantee it, the sense of overwhelm. I know there are people that listen to you for the last 5 to 10 minutes break down what it takes to close a microwave lead. That's what I call it. A microwave lead is where you are able to kind of pop a lead in the microwave. So when you go to your phone and you go what Junior calls a powerless, I call it a microwave lead. A lead that you can go from cold, they didn't know that you were going to call them, to, hey, let's get on a call in a matter of minutes, right? So the ability to do that requires so many skills, so many competencies, and really, if we're just being honest, a lot of practice. So with that being said, if you had to give an entrepreneur an easy approach, make not even easy, a realistic approach to improving their ability to sell. Yeah, let me ask that question again. I think I got a better way to ask that. If there were 3 to 5 skills, steps, or techniques, 3 to 5, that a new salesperson should focus on as a beginner looking to close their first 5-figure month, what would those either 1 to 5 skills, tactics, or techniques be? Just 5.
That's interesting. That's interesting. So number one, you have to learn how to set appointments. Number one. So you have to set appointments because if you don't set appointments, you can't close. Number two is you have to learn how to close. Number three, you have to learn how to follow up. That's it. It's not
Wow.
complicated. That's it. You have
Three.
to learn if you could set an appointment, if you could close, and if you could follow up, then you're good. You're good. You don't need anything else. But of course, within each of these things are multiple things. There are things inside of things and layers on top of layers. And we could talk about this for another 2 hours. I could
Right.
go on and on. But realistically, you need to learn how to set appointments, you need to learn how to close appointments, and you need to learn how to follow up on appointments. That's it. That's the only three things you need.
Junior, I love how easily you made that sound. Because it shows that you've been doing it for a while. It's like, man, he just asked me a pretty robust question. Give me like, it was almost like a computer went off, and then at the end of the computer cycle, you was like, all right, here are the three things you need. I love the fact that you were able to do that because it just shows that everybody that's taking your guidance right now is taking guidance from an expert, which is what you will expect from the $1 billion brand. So with that, guys, I think I'd love to see a question. And I know that you can see more questions than I can on this side, Junior. But the question I have for the audience is, what one thing are you struggling with the most in your sales journey today? And it doesn't matter what stage of business you're in. Everybody can make more sales, right? So please don't think that you're $250,000, you're good. No, no. How, where, whatever it is, I'm really interested to see what that looks like. So let me know, Julie, what you see on your end, and I'm going to keep my eyes here on Facebook and YouTube. But again, that question is, what one thing are you struggling with the most in your sales process right now? Like, if you got this fixed, it's taking you to the next level.
Bro, I can answer that.
Okay, come on, because I'm interested. I really want to know.
Hard work and discipline. That's
Mm.
it. Hard work is not like and the reason I speak like this, Bobby, because it's not complicated. I don't want people to think it's complicated. Like I'm not gonna be like one of those gurus that try to make things look more complicated than they are. It's
Mhm.
not. It's hard work and discipline. Is can you make 100? So I put it out the other day. 100 people a day for 100 days, and you'll make six figures. Do you have the discipline? It's not easy touching 100 people per day for 100 days. Life happens. There's stuff that happens during the day, stuff that happens in your business. Do you have the discipline to do that? Can you touch 100 people a day for 100 days? Discipline. Do you have the discipline to follow up? That's what really matters. That's what really matters. That's what really matters, bro. So I could
Oh,
answer that right now. I'll tell you this, Bobby. It's not so much about, what's going to hold most people back will be the character deficiencies. That's what's going to hold most people back. It's not going to be like, even if I give you the script, if there was a script, even if I give it to you, you wouldn't be able to do it because you need discipline to do it.
hmm.
You
Man,
need
that
discipline to do the script. That's it.
I know that just like dropped the hearts of some people. Some people, their heart is in their stomach right now
Just keeping it
because
real, brother. Just keeping it 100% real. Like you need, even if you have the script, you still need discipline to follow through with the script.
Mhm. And I
Sales
think
is hard work. Sales is hard work. And you ask me a question, what would I do to make it easier? I wouldn't. I would not make it easier. Because you're going to need this, like, why do people think everything has to be easier? You need the discipline. I think people are looking at this with the wrong mental model. The mental model should be, the more disciplined it is, the more work I need to do. Like the more work you do, the easier it gets. If you start off with something that's easy, then you're going to miss out on the lessons. You're going to miss out on the discipline. You're going to miss out on the actual value of the information and the value of the skill. Like people, the only reason people value six pack abs is because it's difficult to get.
Yeah. If everybody had them, it's not a hot commodity anymore. It's not a hot commodity anymore.
That's right. That's right.
Man, I
All right.
think this call was powerful.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Bobby, let's go to our final break. And
Yeah,
when we come back, we're gonna wrap it up.
sounds good. Sounds good.
Yes, sir. All right.
You know, there's nothing that you cannot overcome in this world except that which you refuse to fight. When I say brand, when I say brand and authenticity and being the brand, you gotta know your story. You gotta know your story. You gotta own your story, and you gotta be the champion of your story. It's very important that we control our narrative. It's very important that we don't allow anyone else to control our narrative, because when they control our narrative, they control our freedom. They control our freedom and our future. I don't just want it for me, I want it for everybody. It can happen, and it can happen for you, especially when you get branded like a leader.
I'm Jackie Miller, and I was really drawn to Shaan's personality from the moment that I did the Branding Like a Leader challenge. This was the free challenge that he offered, and I'm so glad that he offered it, because I joined the class and I was blown away. First of all, by his giving personality. For me, it was the personality that really drew me in. But then as he was sharing his wealth of knowledge, I realized that there was so much that I didn't know. I already knew there was a lot I didn't know, but there was so much that I didn't know. And he was just freely giving this information. It was evident that he really wanted to help people. And as somebody who likes to help people, I connected with that. And then I was able to connect not only with Shaan, but then with his team, with Junior and with Jason, Mr. B, and just the entire team has just been absolutely incredible. They are a joy to work with. They go above and beyond. One day, something had come up, and Junior he texted me just to see how I was doing. And that really touched my heart. So that relational piece is there. So if you were having any doubts about what Mr. Shaan Rais and his team with the brand can offer you, let me let you know. It is a treat and it is a joy, and you will not be disappointed.
Right, guys, we are back. Bobby, this has been an amazing show, man. This has been a guys. Put it in the chat. I know I've given out a lot of information, and I've tried to make it as simple as possible, Bobby. So that's why I simplified a lot, because I don't want people to feel like it's unattainable or out of their reach to do. So I try to simplify the information as much as possible, guys. But let me know, like, how did you enjoy it? Did you learn something? Yeah, Bobby, back over to you, man. I'm happy you asked me those questions, because these are the questions that a lot of people really need to have answered.
Yeah. No, I remember if there was a badge, I probably would have earned it when we were going through Branded Like a Leader and the other courses, because I got really good at asking the right questions. It was to the point where Shaan was like, you know what, if Bobby's about to ask a question, I know I'm about to give you guys something. So it was nice to earn kind of that title to a degree. But more importantly, one thing that I know Shaan would say, because he said it to me before, is the quality of your answer is based on the quality of your question. And any opportunity that I get to come on here and ask Junior questions, I'm going to do my best to ask the most quality question possible. And it looks like Travis has a quality question of his own in the chat here.
Oh yeah, he does. Let's see. So Travis says, "Can you please summarize the five ones, 5 to 1s, or 5 1s needed for new salespeople?"
Problem, target. I think I got what he's talking about.
Okay.
5 1s. I believe he's talking about you need to have the theme, the message, the problem, the method, and the target. If not that, Let's see what else we might have covered. Let us know if I hit it, Travis. If that's not it yet, let me know. We also covered the slimy salesperson, closer, rainmaker, trusted advisor.
Now he's probably talking about like the methodology, the problem, the product, solving the problem, having the right product, knowing the target audience, the process, also having a sales process. And let me see. There's one more, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But Travis, bro, honestly, sometimes this comes from the top of my head, man. I'm not scripted. I don't script it, so I'm literally in the moment when I'm giving the information. So where to begin for a starter? You begin by making a power list. So make a list of everybody that you know that could use your service, and you call them. You call them. You let them know what you're doing. You find out how they're doing. Number one, you let them know what you're doing, and then you set a second appointment where you could tell them about the product. That's it, Travis.
Mhm. Man, that sounds like we might have to make a framework out of that one. That seemed to be something that they enjoyed. The five
Yeah,
things you need.
yeah,
To,
yeah. It seems like we might have to do that. I might have to put that together, man.
yeah,
Might have
yeah.
to put
No,
that
it was
together.
good. Today, this morning was really informative.
Yes,
So
sir. Yes, sir.
we have one more. I'm going to see. Oh, we got 2 minutes. Can I ask one more question, Junior? I think you
Yes,
can
sir.
answer it in 2 minutes. All
Let's
right,
do it. Let's
one
do it.
more. Final sales question. So yes, you can definitely catch the replay. Um, if I had to ask a parting question that you're going to answer in 2 minutes, okay, here it is. How can I make a that's a deep one. I'm trying to find the best way to ask this. So I'll preface it, then I'll ask it. Ascension models. Everybody knows that you got to sell something, and then once you sell the first thing, you want to upsell, upsell, upsell. So if I'm a beginning salesperson, it's going to be a lot easier potentially for me to sell a product that's not, say, $2,000, $3,000. It might be easier for me to sell something that's maybe $100 or $50. So very quickly, 60 seconds or less, what would you tell a budding sales professional, someone that's trying to do their first six figures a year, how to develop a product or even a sales process that works well with a solid ascension model, an upselling ability, the ability to upsell?
Bro, what I'll do is I'll say, guys, I can't answer that in 2 minutes. Come to
Right.
www.livedeepdive.com. But here's the question, here's the answer, right? So the answer to the first piece of the question is start with something. Start with some kind of process. Doesn't have to be right. Just put something down on paper for yourself, test it, try it out, and every time you try it out, have another sheet of paper and say, what do I need to improve on? What do I need to do different? What parts of the process do I need to make better? And refine, work on refining your process day in, day out, day in, day out. And after like a month or 2 months, you would have created a process that is predictable, repeatable, and something that you know works. And that's what you want to do. That's how the big companies do it. That's what you want to do. As far as ascension models, I don't have enough time to go into ascension models today, but just to have a process, put something down on paper. And it doesn't have to be complicated. Step number one, make the list. Step number two, call the people. What do you say when you call the people? Do I introduce myself like this? Do I introduce myself like that? And make the corrections as you go along. Write down your corrections, and eventually, bro, you will have a really cool process. Now, let me see. I see Travis has one more question. I want to get that. Um, will there be any free? Yeah, we're doing the leadership live deepdive.com. Excuse me, leadership live deep dive at 5. Come to www.livedeepdive.com. Sean is flying, guys, so Sean is not going to be there, but I will be available to answer any questions that you may have. Ask me those questions on the inside. Today, we don't have enough time today, but thank you so much, Travis. So www.livedeepdive.com. I'll be taking those questions there, and that's tomorrow at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Yes, sir. Bobby, any closing comments?
Absolutely not. Phenomenal call. I hope everybody learned something. I know you did. I know you did.
Yes, sir. All right, guys, thank you so much. Tomorrow we'll be on back 8 a.m., not 7 a.m. this time, 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Breakfast with the Brand. Stay tuned. Let's grow.